Yes, just
Should I place it on record? Okay.
Yes.
15.1 reads as follows. As you are still prepared to make a statement, I would like to know your source of information regarding the proposed statement you wish to make. What is then handwritten, my lord? It says, I was involved in the crime scene.
And when you read the portion which state, I went in with Carlos and others took their positions as discussed during the planning. When we entered the house, Carlos shouted in isiZulu, Panzi, imali, and my cell phone. You mentioned that some of the witnesses do mention this fact.
That is correct, my lord.
We wish to refer you to the evidence of Mr.
I think it needs to be put in a proper perspective. The question to the witness is in relation to Carlos. And the confirmation is to the effect that is what the witness said. Did the witness said that is Carlos who said that, or is the person who they said was wearing some dreadlocks who said that statement? I think it needs to be put in a proper perspective.
Yes, sir.
I'm really baffled. I don't understand that objection. We're putting on record what is stated. It is no one else but my learned friend who said we shouldn't travel beyond what is in the statement. Now, we read out what is stated here. Now, he wants us to put an interpretation to a statement, which he said we mustn't do. But be that as may, my lord, I think it is a perfectly permissible question to the witness, just to quote the context of the confession and to ask him to
Yes,
comment.
proceed. Let's hear you.
As the court pleases. Now, we wish to refer you to the evidence of Mr. Twala, Mtokozizi Twala,
Yes.
given on the 2nd of August 2023 at page 37 from line 16 to 22. If you can just place that evidence on record.
Yes, indeed, my lord. It is page 37 of the record of the 2nd of August, yes, 2023. Mr. Twala, as I say that person, the first person that appeared from the person appeared to here. Mr. Baloyi, the witness pointing to the opening again. Mr. Twala, what then happened when this person appeared? This person must behind Kelly. My lord, I'm reading it verbatim here. This person must behind Kelly, and then what I did is I looked at SENZO. What I remember is that the person demanded phones and money.
Then the evidence of Ms. Zandi Kumalo, given on the 21st of July 2023, page 17 of the record, lines 9 to 12, in cross-examination by Advocate Mnisi. Can you just read?
Yes, my lord. So I'll start with the cross-examination by Mr. Mnisi. Then one of them says he produced a firearm in front of you and he says money and cell phones. But he is saying that in Zulu. Ms. Kumalo, yes, that is correct.
Then, just on this, lastly on this aspect, the evidence of Mr. Tumelo Madlala on the 7th of August 2023, page 16 of the record, from line 5 up to 8. Can you just place that on record?
Indeed, my lord, it reads as follows. Mr. Magala, under Mr. Magala, he had dreadlocks on the head and was also wearing a hat. Now one thing that he actually wanted was the phones and the money, and with the wielded firearm and big eyes or widened eyes.
Just above the portion that we've just quoted, there's a portion that says, I went in with Carlos and others took their positions as discussed during the planning. When we entered the house, Carlos shouted. You've explained how you connect that name to accused number 3, is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
In this regard, we wish to refer you to the evidence of Constable S. Zungu on the 8th of September 2023 from line 18 to 21, continuing to page 43, line 1 to 4. Can you place that on record?
I'm baffled to use the state's word as to what is it that the state is actually trying to demonstrate here. Is it trying to indicate that this confession should also be, or the content of the confession should also be used as against the other accused that are mentioned here? Because it keeps on referring to the other accused. The law is very specific, my lord, that it can be used. But now I'm just wondering, what is the relevance of keep on referring to the names of the other people whose names are also mentioned in the confession here, if the aim is not to have the confession used against them? Maybe the state needs to explain that, because from where I'm standing, all that the state is doing here constitutes irrelevant and inadmissible evidence.
No, that's not how I understand
Yes,
the
my lord.
evidence.
Yes.
The law is clear, as you all know, that the
As it is
confession
in the
can be
court.
used against
Yes.
another co-accused. But
Yes.
there's nothing debarring the state from quoting what the confessor said
Yes.
in the presence of whoever.
Yes, my lord.
That's a
But now,
different aspect.
then what's the purpose for that?
I don't know, you must ask him.
That is the reason why I'm standing up, my lord. Exactly.
Indeed, my lord. We have put on record the proposition by Mr. Mngomezulu that Brigadier Gininda came with a statement that was already written, and a name is mentioned here. Now, we're just referring to the record, my lord, to indicate the origin of the name, that it has got nothing to do with Brigadier Gininda, but just to merely explain what the source of that name is. We're not saying that evidence is admissible against accused number 3. We're just quoting the passage to show the origin of the name. That is the whole purpose.
Yeah, well, let's
Yes.
continue, sir.
As a court, please, can you just place that on record?
Okay, so it reads as follows, my lord. He introduced Carlos, who is known to me as Gadla, whose real name is Mtobisi Ngube, and also referred to him as Buthelezi Boy.
Yeah, you can just
Lana-
you can just proceed to the next page.
Okay, sir.
Buthelezi Boy, whose real okay,
The next page.
yeah. Just start. I want to start where it starts. The sentence. I did not need an introduction to Musika Kulela Sibiya. Carlos, known as Gaga, whose real name is Mtobisi Ngube, and we referred to him at times as Buthelezi Boy. And Sinakona.
Yes, thank you. That's enough. Thank you. Thank you. We can then continue from where you stopped just before the long adjournment. You were at a sentence that starts while I was still.
Then it reads as follows, my lord. This is now after the sentence where this is the sentence where that says we entered the house. Carlos shouted in Zulu, "Pansi, imali, ne mas cell phone." I started collecting cell phones and cash that was in the container. While I was still busy, SENZO jumped to Carlos, and the struggle ensued, where one shot went off, and the second shot hit SENZO, as the firearm was pointed at his chest.
Yes.
I ran out with the money and the cell phone, leaving Carlos behind, while Maphisa ran into the house. I then proceeded directly to the silver polo, parked. I waited in the car with Nkani.
Now, Brigadier, did you know about all these facts? For instance, that the firearm was pointed at Mr. SENZO MEYIWA and a shot went off and hit him in the chest?
I did know that he was shot on the chest, my lord, but as to the facts, as to who, like he's referring the name Carlos, my lord, I didn't know those facts. What I knew is that the deceased was shot, there was an entry and exit wounds, and those were the facts that were contained on the first day of the incident. That's all I knew, but not insofar as the names of the perpetrators. I also did not know that Maphisa went in after they went out, my lord. I did not know this. There was nothing, it was never contained in the docket.
About running out with the money and the cell phone?
My lord, what I knew is that the cell phone of Ms. Kelly Kumalo was taken. I was not aware of the money because none of the people who were inside the house mentioned that. All they say there was a demand of cell phones and money, and we know that the cell phone belonging to Ms. Kelly Kumalo, the one that Ken Lestein referred as a runaway phone, I've testified about it, my lord, in terms of the location. That is how far I knew about the phone that was taken, and that's all. Then, Maphisa then went to the silver polo was parked. I waited in the car with Nkani. Within a short period of time, I was joined by Karos, Moses Ibia, and Maphisa. We then left for Phosphorus Hostel. Karos took the cash and the cell phone from me.
Did you know about these facts that are stated here?
No, I did not know, my lord.
And there's mention of a silver polo. It says, I then proceeded directly to the silver polo. Where it was parked.
My lord, no, I did not know. What I knew at this stage, because we already had the confession statement of accused one, he referred to a white polo, so I had no knowledge of a silver polo. This was the first time this was brought to my attention. In other words, during our interaction, and subsequently it was then documented in this exhibit H. I also did not know that accused 5 was the driver, because it was not mentioned in the previous confession, my lord. It's a different name, which we followed and found that that person was in prison. It's what was given to us by accused number 1, not that accused 5 was the driver.
Already referred you to the evidence of Constable Zungu, as he testified on the 8th of September 2023, page 43, from line 19. If you can just put that on record, from line 19 up to page 44, the first and second lines.
Yes. Indeed, my lord. Line 19 reads as follows. At about 3 p.m., Sinakosa Sibia approached me and told me that Ngade Sifokuhle Ntuli Zungu. Ntuli is stating that I removed my vehicle because he wanted to go out, as I have parked behind his vehicle and blocked his exit. I was driving a state unmarked vehicle, VW Polo, and Gadeni was driving a silver gray hatchback Volkswagen Polo. Okay. Karos took out the cash and the cell phone from me. At the hostel, I received an amount of 15,000 rands cash. I then left with Nkani to Johannesburg, where I slept over. The following day, Nkani took me to Davidton, where I stayed for some days. Nkani later returned and took out an amount of 30,000 and gave me. Okay. He further directed me to the taxis to my residence. As there was dissatisfaction about the money, it led to a meeting to be held in the homelands at Emahlabatini. It
Yes.
escalated.
It's fine. Just
I can wait to the end. It's fine.
now, did you know about this fact about the money that is being mentioned here?
Okay, yeah, shut up. Sorry. My lord,
If I may ask you not to refer to any hearsay evidence referring to the meeting in Emahlabatini, you may proceed.
indeed, my lord. So, my lord, I did not. What I knew about the money, it was insofar as the confession statement that was made by accused 1, because this confession exhibit H came after the statement of accused number 1. So, insofar as him alluding that there was money paid, but he didn't mention accused number 2. I only know insofar as that is concerned, but insofar as what is contained in exhibit H, I did not know that information, my lord. My lord, it's also prudent to mention that at the time when I took control of the docket, the impression that we've got, this is now before focusing on this accused, it looked as if it was a robbery that went wrong, because the essence of the statements that are in the docket, which is available into the defense, seemed to suggest that people were in to rob or demanded cell phones and money, and there was a struggle and the gunshot went off. So if one looked at it, it really looked like that. Now, this information that was now clearly indicating that this may have been a contractual killing, it was the first time it was brought to my attention, my lord. I just want to find the sentence, my lord. Yes. Okay, it escalated to such an extent that Moses Ibia had leaked information about the incident. Open bracket, murder of SENZO MEYIWA, close bracket. Njabulo and Lulema had an argument.
Lulama.
This one looks like Ima, so I'll say Lulama. I was trying to quote it as it appears, but yeah, Lulama had an argument with Moses Ibia, whereby a meeting was convened by the family headed by Moses' father.
Njengoba ngithi uzawukhulelwa ngangilandela ukuzaleka kwami mina uqobo ngagcina ngithi ke namhlanje ngizele umzakhulelwa kuye yedwa indodana yami ekhona la ekhaya engethembele kuyo ineyingane la igcekeni iganiwe ithemba lami benginalo kutefa ukuthi ngelinye ilanga ingane yami izophuma kule ndawo ekuyona ngendlela ebengimbona ekhuluma ngayo nangendlela ebengazi ngayo nami ngoba bengazi ukuthi umzakhulelwa wasiyumbulali kaMeyiwa.
He told them to keep quiet about the incident of the killing of SENZO MEYIWA. The family agreed about the conspiracy to keep quiet about the incident. The matter was never reported to the police. I then left for Carltonville and later to Rustenburg.
Now, Brigadier, are you in any way the source of this information in this last paragraph as it was suggested by Mr. Ngomezulu?
No, my lord, I did not even know accused two, as I said. I mean, the only thing I knew was the names as per the affidavit of Absalom Zungu. And prior to that, I did not know him, my lord. Nor did I know what you will even tell me. So I'm not the source. I didn't know all this information.
Thank you. If we can then look at the next exhibit, Exhibit Triple J, statement that was made before Magistrate Gronier, as you've already put on record, on the 24th of June 2020 at 14:30. You mentioned that you received the previous exhibit, Exhibit HH, from Lieutenant Colonel Rapadu 2 days after it was made. What happened thereafter?
My lord, then it was filed in the docket, and then it was the following, or rather the following of the information that was contained in terms of the collaboration of this exhibit. My lord, then on the 23rd, and I've testified about this also, so I'll not want to repeat myself, my lord, that on the 23rd of June 2020, that's when I came across Mr. Mjiaho, Advocate Mjiaho, who at the police station, after I received a call, I've testified about it, my lord, with accused number 2, and it was out of those discussions and with the state that then arrangements were made that this document, Double J, should then be made, my lord.
If you can just maybe briefly once again revisit those facts, what happened on the 23rd of June 2020, or what led to you going to the police station?
My lord, my recollection, I received a call from the cells, one of the cells officers who indicated that there was an attorney who wanted to consult with accused number 2. So they wanted basically permission if they can allow him. During that time, my lord, we were still under the COVID-19 regulations.
Just a minute.
I allowed them, my lord, to say they should permit him because he's a legal person to consult while I was making my way to the station to verify his status, which is what I've done, my lord. What is prudent, my lord, to mention is that when I arrived at the cells where accused 1 and this gentleman, it was the first time for me to see him. I've never worked with him or seen him before, my lord. It is accused number 2, sorry, not accused number 1. It is accused number 2 who stood up and as I was approaching and said, "This is my attorney." But after the introductions between ourselves and this gentleman, obviously introducing himself and saying his work instructions, I asked him to identify himself. And I do recall that I went outside to check his status because he gave me the South African ID, the copy and the document that was coming from the Legal Practice Council, which obviously when I went out was to confirm indeed that if he was an attorney, and such was confirmed, my lord. My lord, I also recall that the discussions with the attorney, obviously when I returned, went to insofar as him wanting to know who were the state representative insofar as the NPA is concerned. And the name of Advocate Baloyi, Advocate Leonard, and Advocate Maphisa, those were the people that I gave him to say these are the state representative on the side of the NPA who are dealing with this matter. There was then engagement, my lord, as I said, that resulted in the arrangement of the 24th, where this confession was then taken.
Now, the letter that you referred to, that you say you received from Mr. Mjiako, is it correct that in the trial, within the trial, it was sent in as Exhibit YY?
Indeed, my lord, it was actually handed in as Exhibit YY, and then later there was also YY2, because there was a condition of the other one where I said I don't see the signature correctly, and the court ordered that we must give it in. So it was YY1, and then there was YY2. That's the letter in question, my lord.
Now, whose initiative was it that, as you put it, that a process should be put in train that resulted in Exhibit JJ.
It was from the accused, my lord, and the counsel. As I said, I was asked who are the NPA representative, and through those discussion of the understanding, there was some form of understanding where I've been duly advised that because it was not concluded, I cannot go into, my lord. But because of those discussion and understanding, then the process kicked in for JJ1, and subsequently there were other discussions that followed after that, my lord.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There is definitely a first time for everything. And guess what? This day I decided, you know what? Let's listen to Brigadier Gininda tell his story straight up, okay? Let's not interrupt him. Let's let him talk his story. See how he moves swiftly from Bongani Ntanzi's confession, or should I say alleged confession that was given freely and fairly, okay? And transitions straight into Zungunaiza's story, where he says there was a family meeting at the Sevillas, and Moses Sevilla's father told Njabulo and Lulama not to ever talk about this. My first question is, who the hell is Njabulo and Lulama in this story? If you know, let me know in the comment section down below. But let me take it a few steps back. Let's go back to Exhibit HH, Bongani Ntanzi's alleged confession. So, somebody just came in my comment section and said, listen, I'm not proud of what I'm about to write here. Okay. So don't judge me. But I have to tell you, there's never a time where we said cell phones, especially if they claim that these are Zulu gents. Zulu gents don't say cell phones. Bing, 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 bing. Listen. If you didn't already know, the comment section is a gold mine. Thank you for your honesty with that. And you know what? You're right. How did we not discuss this before? Also, when we go back to Exhibit HH, Bongani Ntanzi's, I hate to call it a confession. I really hate to call it a confession, but that's what Balo is calling it, so let's go with that. Because as you know, Advocate Nisi objected and said he was baffled. And also Baloy said he was also baffled. There was a little bit of a baffling back and forth there. When Nisi says, where are we going with this? Because let me remind you, Baloy, of the law. Your corroborations using a confession cannot be used against a co-accused. Let me say that one more time. A confession by one of the accused cannot be used to incriminate a co-accused. Do you want me to say that one more time? And Umnisi says it is actually irrelevant and inadmissible evidence. So what is the point of this exercise, this painful exercise that you are going through? And Mrs. Baloyi says, well, we just want to talk about the prepositions that Ngomezulu put to the record that Gininda came with the statement. So we're trying to prove that how can Gininda come with the statement already written if he doesn't know the facts contained within the said statement? Listen, this is why I decided to do all my feedback in one shot at the end. Because I said, you know what, let me be fair. Let me give Team State a fair chance. But as you continue to do it, you start to realize, wait, this story, you start to get more questions than answers. So in this confession, Bongani Ntanzi says he ran out of the house with the money and the cell phone. This is the part that really confuses me. So Bongani Ntanzi runs out of the house with the money and the cell phones. One cell phone, okay? Leaves accused number 3 inside. Accused number 3 does not finish off the rest of the people in the house. Only SENZO MEYIWA. Maphisa runs into the house. Can this originator of this story tell us why did Maphisa run into the house? Why did Moses Sevilla also not run into the house or run away? Like, the story is incomplete. Like, they're not painting the vision correctly for us to follow. So now I'm stuck wondering, why did Maphisa go in the house? Where did Muzi go? Because we do know Longwe ran out and disappeared, but nobody talks about that in this confession, right? Mzansi goes in and waits in the grey polo, very specific, in the grey polo, and he waits with Unkani. And then Bongani Mzansi is given a 15,000 rands in cash. And he leaves with Unkani. And they go to Joburg. Once they get to Joburg, he sleeps over. And the next day, Nkani takes him to Davidton. Are you guys following this, Nganegwane? Because for me, it's just not make sure right now. And then Nkani comes back after a few days and hands him $30,000, 30,000 rands cash. I just want to ask you, when you look at Nkani sitting there in that courtroom, does he look like a generous man? Does he look like a generous man? For me, he looks like a no-nonsense. He has zero tolerance for crap. Somebody explained to me why Bongani Mzansi got 45,000 rands in cash from accused number 5. Maybe if they had said from accused number 1, I might have understood. There's some buddy chummy over there. But accused number 5? I think accused number 5 would have actually taken the money for himself and unalived Bongani Mzansi. That's how I would have written the script, but we have to work with what the state is giving us, unfortunately. And for me, that's a no, okay? It was in that moment I realized this is Nganegwane. It is not working. We've known that from the beginning, but I said, let me give them a fair chance. Let me stop ridiculing the state story. Let me listen to it. Let me listen to Gininda. Let me let him talk verbatism. Okay, let me let him talk as he likes. I don't know, guys. Then the story moves to Mjiako. Like he can hop from one story to another so smoothly. So smoothly. And then he says, when he went, no. He says, the wardens called him to say, hey, there's a legal person here for Bongani Mzansi. What are your thoughts on this? And he says, yeah, sure, let him see him. And then he goes there and then he specifically says, I had never met Bongani Mzansi, but as soon as I arrived, Bongani Mzansi stood up. That Bongani Mzansi, the one who's in the courtroom, stood up and said, this is my legal representation. Oh, again, I'm basing my feedback on the people that are before us in the dock. And the characteristics that are being described here do not match the assumptions I've made about the 5 accused. Let me know your thoughts on that so far. And then he quickly mentions that he took Mjiako's ID, South African ID that is, and he had a letter from the LPC, which is the Legal Practice Council, and he was very satisfied with everything, and he allowed him to, speak with Bongani Mzansi. Can someone define to me, when do police officers assist? Yeah, that's the word. When do police officers start to assist with legal matters? So attorney-client privilege. Did we not see that with Longwe Twala last week, where she said, she's not getting involved with Department of Correctional Services officers? Why are they trying to see the paperwork that she wants to hand her clients? But Gininda is right there inside Pagati. Reminds me of Gininda again driving to the hospital, a Rand hospital, to find the doctor, the good doctor. I could go on and on and on with all the questions I had. I inserted Muzisivia's father as well, just so we can also have a vision of this man that they're describing that held a meeting to tell them not to ever talk about it again. Why was he not charged? Because he's an accomplice, right? He knows about it and didn't report a crime. Why was he not charged? You see where Gininda's story starts to have holes? For me, I don't know. But let me end it here because I don't want to make this video too long. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I definitely want to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. If you're joining me from outside the club, consider subscribing. Why? Because we're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on my next upload.